Baltimore Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of making unconstitutional stops, searches or arrests using enforcement strategies that produce severe and unjust disparities in the rates of stops, searches and arrests of African Americans. It's one of the damning statements in the U.S. Justice Department investigation into the city's police force. The 163-page report echoes grievances which have been aired since the arrest and death in custody of Freddie Gray, a 25-year-old African American, last year.
6 officers who were accused of causing his death were acquitted. Now, it led to disbelief, anger and riots on the streets of Baltimore, the worst in decades. And the sentiments echo those expressed in other parts of the United States. Black Lives Matter has become a rallying cry. But this report highlights how police harassment of African Americans is routine. Well, joining us now is Sherrilyn Ifill, president of the Legal Defense Fund, a civil rights law firm associated with the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, or NAACP. Greetings to you, Sherrilyn. Are you surprised by the findings of this Baltimore report?
Thank you so much. And sadly, I have to say I am not surprised. I actually lived in Baltimore City for 15 years and raised my children there and worked in the city. And the narrative that you read in this report, which is quite devastating, I mean, the description that you all have given is accurate and yet doesn't give the full flavor until you really get in and read the report, is a narrative that has been advanced by African Americans in Baltimore for certainly the 20 years that I've been connected with the region, and has been well known and is well known in the African American community. Nevertheless, I have to say, seeing it all assembled in this report and hearing the statistics and hearing the stories and the anecdotes that were assembled by the federal authority, by the Department of Justice, still makes it devastating and shocking. 300,000 stops of pedestrians or people standing on the street over the course of 5 years. Remember, Baltimore is a city with a population of only 650,000. 300,000 stops, 44% of those stops in 2 African-American neighborhoods. And out of those 300,000 stops of individuals, of citizens standing or walking on the street of Baltimore, only 3.7 of those stops resulted in police officers issuing a citation or arresting
Can you tell us, Sherrilyn, from having lived there, bringing up your family there, as you say, we're talking about stops for the slightest things. Is that correct?
Wearing a black hoodie, wanting to clear the street. All of the evidence in the report suggests that police officers didn't believe they needed a reason to stop you. They were fishing. They were on fishing expeditions, and they were showing their control of the streets. And their idea of policing was to clear the streets, that you had to articulate a reason that you were standing on the street. This is in a city, in a democracy, with citizens standing very often outside their own homes, outside public housing complexes where they lived, and they were compelled by police officers to articulate the reason why they were walking or standing.
In a word, though, Sherrilyn, I do have to ask you, do you think this report by the Justice Department will actually make a difference?
Actually, I think it will. The process that happens when the Justice Department engages in this kind of investigation is that essentially it's a piece of litigation, and it goes before a federal authority. The jurisdiction can either be sued by the Justice Department or they'll agree to a settlement in which they'll agree to transform policing practices, and that settlement will be overseen by a federal authority for as many years as it takes for the jurisdiction to prove that they have complied with the agreement. So yes, this is an opportunity. There's no guarantees, but this is an opportunity for real transformed policing in the city of Baltimore, and I'm hopeful that that's what will happen.
Sherrilyn Ifill, thank you very much for joining us this morning on Newsday.